We're here with Maryland linebacker Donnell Brown.
Oh, let's restart it.
You are Locked On Terps, your daily podcast on the Maryland
So how y'all
Terps,
doing?
part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everyone? I'm Tre Moore, host of Locked On Terps, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So thank you for making us part of your day. And today we have a really cool episode. We are here with Maryland linebacker Donnell Brown.
Yes, sir.
I'm
Yes,
curious,
sir.
Brown, how are you guys feeling going into the Villanova game after a big win against Virginia?
We're feeling pretty good. Confidence is up. I would say the urgency's still there as far as just staying in the moment and staying alive. As far as not really getting too weary or getting too worked up over a loss. So I think for us bouncing back last week, I think it's a good week to keep building momentum, and then especially going into Indiana. So I think you definitely want to take care of business this weekend.
Yeah, talk more about how you guys were able to bounce back after a tough game against Michigan State, a back and forth game. How were you guys able to bounce back and have a big win over Virginia?
Honestly, it started with Coach Locks because, especially after the game, I knew because I didn't play too well individually, so I knew for me the sky wasn't falling, but I know I still had just to look myself in the mirror and correct some things. And I know Coach Locks, he said it on last Monday. He was like, "Yeah, it's not really a lot of overcorrecting that we need to do, and not a lot of overanalyzing a situation." So I think for us, it was just basically sticking to the basics and not getting too worked up over that loss, especially because there's a lot of correctable things that could have been prevented in the game. And for us to get the corrections out and just know that we could still be calm about it and just work through the mistakes. And I think that was the biggest thing for us.
Right. How did you feel individually? You talked about some things that needed to be corrected. What were some of those things that you felt like you needed to correct after the Michigan State game?
I think for me, it was just a confidence thing. It was a discipline thing. It was just a trust thing. So for me, it's just holding myself to a high standard and knowing that I do want to make things happen individually, but sometimes I just can't go chasing for them. And I know for me, I might not malfunction, but if I feel like the clock in my head is moving faster than in real time. So I think sometimes I might get caught up trying to do too much in certain situations. And I think for me, just learning how to just stay calm and just keep moving, especially having a next play mentality, and also just letting it go, letting things go, and just playing free and trying to play with peace. Because if you play with peace, you kind of have fun. So I think having fun is the most important thing. And I think for me, after Michigan State, I wasn't having fun until the second half. So I went into UVA or the UVA practice week just knowing that I wanted to make an impact and just to keep a positive attitude.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. I think people forget a little bit that the Virginia game was close at halftime. Was there anything you guys said in the locker room and everything? Because I think everyone kind of sees the final score and it looks like Maryland handled it pretty not easily, but it didn't seem super close. But it was a really close game at halftime. What did you guys say at halftime? What did Coach Locksley tell you guys? What are some things you guys switched up?
He honestly they didn't really say too much because they knew for us it was going to be a hard game, a hard fought game, and we're on the road. So going on the road, especially talking about a rivalry game, battle across the border, it's always going to be a little bit tough and tougher than most conference games that we may play. But I think for us as a team and as a program, it was just understood in the locker room amongst us as far as it's not really too much that we need to say. It's not a lot of overcorrecting that we need to do. It was just about just coming out and executing because we had some times in the first half where guys weren't where they were supposed to be. Offense had to get it rolling a little bit, and special teams he was having not too many lapses there. But I know if the offense and defense isn't rolling, then special teams can kind of be kind of left out to dry. So I think all three phases are being complementary within each other. Then now we're talking about a good hard fought win and talking about a team that's clicking on all cylinders. So I think for us it was just about just getting back to how we do things, kind of like snapping back into it, because I knew the first half it wasn't like a feel out kind of thing, but it was just like, yeah, they came out with a lot. UVA came out with a lot of energy and a lot of intensity, and I think for us, we was just trying to catch up to their intensity, and I think the second half we came out and we exceeded it. So.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Talk
Mm-hmm.
about Billy Edwards a little bit. I think a lot of people have been really impressed by his play overall. How has he been off the field as a leader and now being the new quarterback at Maryland?
I think Billy's he's always a lead by example kind of guy. He'll definitely be vocal if he needs to, but I think for Billy, he was just always focused on just getting better. And sometimes getting better could be just watching a little bit more film, working on your mechanics, being a good teammate, being a good leader, like you say, because sometimes as a quarterback, you may not get the shot that you want, and it might be 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the room, and you might be the odd man out. So sometimes just being there for your team or for your teammates kind of can help the whole situation out as far as like camaraderie or just having a helping hand, having another set of eyes around you, just so it can kind of make your life a little bit easier as a player and as a teammate. And I know for Billy, he's really just been focused on one day at a time, 1 week at a time, especially as a quarterback. So because a quarterback, it's very hard, it's very very mind consuming, I would say. So sometimes like as a quarterback, you got to be, pedal to the metal, but sometimes you also got to take a step back because, you got to protect your mentals too. So I think for Billy, he's just focused on just being a good person and just being a good teammate. Because, if you're those two, then, you can do a lot of good things for, a program or even for another person. So.
Right. Talk about yourself and your career so far, going into your second season as a Maryland Terrapin and coming from St. Francis. Do you feel better now after a couple years at St. Francis and now coming to Maryland? Do you feel better in your second year now at Maryland?
As far as what?
Just in terms of the play, in terms of playing in the Big Ten, in terms of just everything overall, getting used to just being with a different group of guys. Like, how do you feel like you've jumped from year one at Maryland to year two?
I think for me, my mind wasn't all over the place this year in comparison to last year, because I know when I first came here, I was just trying to basically get my feet wet or do everything I could to make an impact, especially because I was a new player. And I know for me, it's just kind of just different, especially when you were the guy at St. Francis and you come into a situation where you got to basically like work for it all over again. And I know for me, I always like starting from scratch if it's basically trying to get a new understanding about what the scheme is or how I am as a player or who I am as a player and what kind of value I bring to the team. So I think for me, it was just kind of having a new slate and a new realization for myself about how I wanted to really go about things. I know at St. Francis, I still had all the same goals I have now in front of me. And really could have went either way as far as like if I stayed or if I left or if I just wanted to do something different. But I know me coming back home it was bigger than just myself and, just having, the urge just to, put on for, my city or put on for my teammates that are from around the area. And I know being in this system helped me out as far as like being more patient, because I know at St. Francis I was always a see ball, get ball kind of guy. It wasn't really a lot of hold for the 3 count or stay backside for a long time. Like if I stayed backside, I'll be chasing it around. But it's like certain situations where I might got to fold backside or I got to chase it around the top. And just being more patient, I'll say that's probably the hardest thing for me coming in here, because like JT always expresses how important it is to be patient. And then I kind of felt it firsthand against Michigan last year, but even still, like I think that was probably the biggest jump for me, the hardest jump for me, because football is football, especially like when you compare it from the Northeast Conference to the Big Ten. I think you have more big name players, but I think the football stays the same, the physicality stays the same, the intensity stays the same. It's just on a broader spectrum. So I think that was the most different part, just knowing that like, yeah, I'm actually playing like in a broader spectrum. But I try to keep the same mentality, same football mind that I had at St. Francis, because that was the one thing that kind of worked for me. So.
Right. And my last question is, going into the rest of the year, what are kind of your personal goals and for the team as well. What kind of goals do you guys have, and for yourself, that you guys kind of how you want to finish off and how you want to finish off?
I think so. It's week 4 coming up, and how many games we got? 12. So we got about eight more. So I think for me, I'm gonna put it in Dragon Ball Z terms, because I always looked at like how Goku or how Vegeta, they would always fight, and they would also like break their limits like within their fight. So like you might see like if they in Super Saiyan 1, and in the middle of their fight they might transform into Super Saiyan 3, and it's like you never knew they could do it, but this is all about doing the work. And like, because for like if I put it in their terms, they do the work and they fight all the time and they make sure they perfect their craft, and they're also not like selfish people as far as like helping each other out, but I would say like they like to fight their own battles. But I think for us individually and collectively, we just want to just keep breaking our limits, keep shattering our limits, keep working. And because I know if we keep doing the work and we do it consistently, then it's not going to be a lot of teams or a lot of players that could really mess with us individually and collectively. Because some teams or some players, like, because I've seen it firsthand, like some people, they don't like to do the work, or they might take a day off or a few days off. And I think for us, it's just important that we just keep doing it, and like every day and every minute, every week, and then just knowing that the outcome that we want is still there. And I know for all of us, we all want a championship, but we just got to actually want to do the habits or keep performing the habits of a championship team. And I think that's the most important thing. And then also just making plays when they need to be made, or just keep having that team camaraderie, because I think the more closer to net we get, then the more unbreakable we can get, especially like in a game, or if we're down like a few scores. And I know we can lean on like the camaraderie that we had, or the experiences that we had in the beginning of the year, later in the year. So I think for us, just giving that like familiarity, I think that could help us out down the line too.
No, yeah, that totally makes sense. Good luck the rest of the year. Thank you for joining us, Donnell.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Locked On Terps. Make sure you like and subscribe. We're here every day talking Maryland football and basketball, and I'll see you next time.
Go Terps, baby.